I haven't used this splitter in probably, oh, it's been a month. Feel like forever since I've split wood. Okay guys, this is what we got going on today. You can see this trailer full of wood behind me here. This is what I got in my last video from my mother-in-law's house. It's not real big, about 12 inches. It's probably some of the biggest pieces. It was really knotty, had a lot of limbs, so thought it'd be a good time to just get my trailer empty, split this wood, and show y'all some tips and tricks I've learned over the years. You know, I learned this is mainly for guys with the homeowner splitters, you know, something like the split fire, the 2265, the horizontal verticals. Not for the commercial guys, you know, they can throw about anything on there and just blow through it, explode it. You're gonna have tons of waste, but I found a lot of things I can do, especially with knotty stuff, that you can work through it and, you know, not create so much waste and get it done quicker. So you saw me there, I was splitting those rounds and I was having to take several steps to get over here to the stack, and so I immediately had to correct that, because you can waste so much time if you can just get your splitter close to where you're working, as close as possible. You can just, you know, split it back onto the stack. You know, one step saves you a lot of time. But like you saw me splitting those rounds, they were small, they were straight grained. That's fine, bust those right down the middle and keep going. But I see people all the time, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-foot round, if it's a, you know, covered in knots, and what's the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go right down Broadway. They're going to take it right down the middle. It's not going to split. If it's something that's splitting good, if it's huge, they're going to split it. It's going to not split all the way. You're going to have to wrestle it, flip it over, waste your time, or it's going to get stuck on the knife. Then you're going to have to beat it off with another stick. I find it's just easier if you start, especially on bigger stuff or knotty pieces. I'm going to show you how I work through some knots here in a second. But if it's a big straight grain one, just if it's not splitting perfectly, just work the sides down and go from there. I'll show you that too. So those two I just split, you saw they had some knots. It's kind of like this piece. You know, I got a knot here and a knot here. Well, the first thing I'm gonna always do is I'm gonna try to get rid of the smallest knot first to relieve some of the tension in the wood. So you could like shave this one this way, and then you can work in your knot the other way. You don't wanna, if it's a big knot, you don't wanna go crossways of the knot. You wanna go through the knot this way. We could probably split this one through the knot, but it may create more trash waste. Those are 2 I just did. I was able to split everything up, the knots and all, and just there was no waste. So that's mainly what I'm showing you here. We're gonna go ahead, we'll try this one. We're gonna go, it'll split probably, no problem, but we're gonna go right down through the middle. Okay, this little tip here is not really so much about the actually splitting the wood. It's more about your log splitter. Like on my splitter, I know from the stop, you can see this little square piece here with the weld in the middle. From the stop to this end here is roughly 16 inches. Over here, you get in this way, you're less than 14. I definitely don't want to put anything less than 14 in my bundle grade stuff or what I'm going to sell to the customer. As you know, I try to keep it as consistent as possible. I mean, I've seen people with YouTube channels and things, and this is like the most counterproductive thing to me. They're making bundles and they're using a chop saw, going through the stack they've already split. They're going through the stack with a chop saw, cutting everything as close as they can to 16 or whatever length they want. I mean, that's just a waste of time. Cut it to begin with the best you can, take a little extra time and cut it as close as you can. I know it's not going to be perfect, but you can do that. And then, like in this situation, like this log here, you know, it's getting too long. It's probably about 17. That's okay with me. I'm probably gonna go for 16, but that means 17 to around 15. But if you see them get down here really long, then I'll just throw them in the Ranger. Or if they get really short, they'll go in a different stack. It makes sorting it as you go, saves a lot of time. So this is what we're gonna do now. We're moving on to something a little bigger. This one's got several knots in it. You can see this crack in the end of it here. This wood, this oak, I mean, I know it's oak, I don't know what kind it is, but it sure does stink. But I'm gonna go right down this crack. It may split, may not, but then you can just watch. I'm not gonna explain everything I do, but I'm gonna try to work around the knots and I'll give you the best camera angle I can. There's something about this place. There's more helicopters, airplanes fly through here than anywhere I've ever lived. I don't know what it is. It's because the big rivers right here and a lot of things travel along the river, but there's always something flying over. But back to the wood, that last piece you saw, it split fine down the middle. And the main thing I was showing you there was like where these knots are. Give yourself some headway. Always start on the end opposite the knot. That way it'll start splitting and it'll just kind of more evenly tear through that. But it's getting hot out here. The last thing I want to show you, I got a lot of wood left to split. Making these videos takes up a lot of time, so I'm going to go ahead and show you one more trick here. What I'm going to do, this one's pretty straight, not much knots in it. I'm going to try to quarter this piece down. Once I quarter it, because I'm normally going for, small splits for bundles, and everybody here in the South, they always want the smaller stuff because, quick fires. But if you quarter it down, you can go and make more pie pieces out of it. Or you can cut it, I'll show you, you can go perpendicular to the bark, if that makes sense. I'll split this one. Y'all just watch and see if you can tell the difference. It'll work with about any species. If it's sweet gum or something that's just terrible to split, this will help you to split it easier. If it's splitting great, like red oak or something, you can, if you're just having to go halfway through it to get it to pop open, doing it this way, you may not even just have to touch it and it pops open. I'll show you, see if y'all can tell what I'm doing. So if you didn't notice what I was doing there, you can see if you wanted this piece of firewood to be smaller, normally you just lay it on there and come make another little pie wedge. You split this in half, you have two more. But if you turn it like this on the splitter, come in with your knife here, somewhere this angle, like this stuff, you just barely have to touch it and it pops open. Going this other way, you might have to go all the way through the entire length of it. It works with about any species. Everything I've split so far, I can tell it when I get it down to the last split or the last couple of splits. If I turn the wood, it pops better this way. These are just some things I've picked up over the years splitting firewood. I know a lot of people have no clue about these things because I watch other YouTube videos, and like I say, the biggest thing I ever see is the first thing they're gonna do, it don't matter what the round is, they're gonna go right down the middle. All that's gonna do, 90% of the time, especially if you got some knots, you're gonna get hung up. You're gonna have to beat the block off your wedge. It's just gonna make things more complicated and waste time. But anyway, if you like these kind of videos, you know what to do. Subscribe and all that good stuff. I've got one round over here that's got probably at least 8 knots in it. Y'all may want to stick around and see if I can get this thing split. I'm gonna try every trick in the book, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. We'll see. Thanks for watching.